Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, we'll be discussing a classic cartoon for you. We'll be doing the 1960s Hanna-Barbera cartoon, The Flintstones. Now, I don't know why I'm taking this long to review The Flintstones, but I've always been putting it off, doing other videos, doing other movies. So I'm going to do The Flintstones, finally, after 4 years of doing videos. Of course, the Flintstones were like the first primetime show. I believe they aired on ABC television from 1960 to 1966. And it was the first primetime animated show. Of course, until when The Simpsons came along, it was the longest primetime animated show ever. And it was never tried again until about like 23 years later when The Simpsons came on the scene. The first show, which was the Christmas special by The Simpsons. Uh, for the Flintstones, of course, it is based, loosely based. Of course, there was a controversy at the time because the Flintstones were loosely based on the Honeymooners. This took place a few years earlier on CBS. Of course, I heard, I don't know how true it is, but I heard that Jackie Gleason threatened to sue Hanna-Barbera and Hanna-Barbera, and I think also ABC, because I think ABC had the Flintstones, because it was like almost like a big copy of his show. So what happened was, of course, that nothing really came after that because like creative indifference. Of course, the Flintstones. And I'm going to keep going back to the Simpsons. The Flintstones, of course, is based on the Stone Age, with Fred and Wilma Flintstone and their neighbors, or next door neighbors, the Wobbles, Benny and Barney Wobble. And of course, like I said, that lasted 6 years. And of course, they always have some kind of like wacky, and it did play out in the first couple of seasons as the Honeymooners, because they didn't have any. At first, they didn't have any kids, and of course, they always come up with some wacky adventure, trying to lie to their wives or to get other schemes to get noticed or to improve themselves. Of course, you wasn't really sure what Barney Rubble did for a living, but I forgot what he did. Of course, Fred always worked in a rock quarry, and he always wanted to get noticed by his boss or get promoted in some way, like Jackie Gleason did in The Honeymooners. But he never got promoted, or he always got stuck working in the quarry and riding the dinosaur, and it was like a snowplow almost. And so that's all he ever did. He never got another promotion, rarely got a raise. And of course, during the course of the series, he did other jobs. Like there was one episode where he was like came out as a famous singer. Was touring with a guy kind of like Elvis's manager, the Colonel, was managing Fred, and was traveling all over the country, performing only one song, and people got tired of it, and of course he went back to being Fred Flintstone. There was also one where he ran a diner. There was another one where he was trying to be a surfer. All kinds of crazy things that was going on. And of course, one of the things that became noticeable on the Flintstones was that just about every name had something to do with rocks. Because there's a bedrock, of course, there's a type of rock. Because you have Flintstone, type of rock, rubble, types of rocks. And of course, everybody who was interact with the main characters also had to have a last name with associated with rocks. So they got pretty creative with that. They had Fred's boss was like Mr. Slate, type of rock. even when they had celebrities on their show, which from time to time they had celebrities on the show and they had to put like a rock type name involved with it. And it got kind of silly after a while. They had one with Tony Curtis where they had like a contest. And they were going to have because Tony Curtis was famous in his earlier roles for playing a slave boy. So he says, and Tony Curtis, it was actually named was Stony Curtis, for the Flintstones. And he says, oh, the winning entry will have me as a slave boy for a week. And of course, the Flintstones won, and he had Stony Curtis as a slave boy for a week. There was another one which was one of the better episodes I thought. We had Anne Margaret on the show, and actually it was called Anne Morgrock. Anne Morgrock, and she decided to live with the Flintstones for a few days, just to get away from the press and the mobsters, because they were performing in a big concert in Bedrock. And she says, "Oh, one of these quiet place to stay." And she happened to drive into the Flintstones neighborhood, and her car breaks down. And Fred and Barney helped her out, and says, so you know in town?" It says, "Yeah, we're looking for a quiet place to live." I said, "I tell you what, when you stay in our house, when you get your car fixed." Well, the thing is, you don't have to do that. And I said, "Oh, go ahead. It'll be a pleasure." And then they asked her to stay and be like a nanny to Pebbles, because they only had Pebbles at that time. Fred Barney had Pebbles then, and said, "Oh, when are you take care of a daughter where I'll take care of stuff?" And I said, "Oh, that's fine," because Pebbles took to Anne very well. I liked her because Anne Morgan was always singing to Pebbles all the time, and that was some of the best scenes in that episode. And he says, "Oh, why don't we put together an act for the Anne Margaret show, maybe from the Bedrock?" And he says, "Yeah," and then of course they didn't know that she was actually Anne Margaret until of course to the end of the show. And then they performed a song with them at the end of the episode, which was great. The other one they had was Cary Grant, another spoof. It was like Cary Grant. Of course, one of the episodes was with Superstone, which is probably Superman, but it was Superstone. It was, of course, was a very popular television show in the 50s. And of course, they had a Superman spoof called Superstone, and Superstone was supposed to make an appearance, or a public appearance in Bedrock, and the real guy who played Superman, or Superstone, was tired of the act, and quit. And so everybody's waiting. Where is he? With Superstone, and the whole crowd was saying Superstone, Superstone. And they had Pebbles and Bam Bam there on the show at that time. And they said, "Oh, let's get where's Superstone?" So the whole crowd was saying Superstone, Superstone. So Fred gets mad because he spent all the money on the tickets. So he goes in there and says, "Hey, where the hell is this guy?" And that's because Fred has a big mouth and has a physique, even though he was fat. He says, "Hey, let's get him in the costume." And of course he performs for the crowd. And of course during that performance, two guys decided to rob the bank, to rob the box office, and one was dressed up as Superstone, and so people thought the Superstone was now a super crook. And of course Fred decided, hey, since I played Superstone, I'm being framed for this. So he, with Barney's help, eventually helped prove that Superstone really didn't do it. Of course, they also had one with Flipper, spoofing a Flipper. He was like a Coelosaurus, They also have dinosaur references in this thing. It's supposed to be in the Stone Age. And instead of calling it Flipper, it's called Dripper. It became, that was an episode that was like later on. It's one episode where Fred adopts a mountain lion, and they leave him in the woods. They found a girl, and for the mountain lion actually got married, had a couple of kids, and this one day they came to visit him. The mountain lion did with his wife and a couple of kids. It was cute and kind of a sad episode. One episode called, I actually have this on an 8mm film, actually, a silent film, with Dino the Hero, it was called. And when Dino decides to go to Hollywood and be with Lassie, and I don't know call Lassie, it was called Cassie or something, and of course they found out that she wasn't as pretty as she was on TV. And also, of course, I should mention that the last season of the show, the 6th season, they brought in a little alien, Gazoo, because I guess they were running out of ideas. And only Fred and Barney could see him, along with the two kids, Pebbles and Bam Bam. Which I know I didn't mention this, or go into that much yet. There was also one of the first animated cartoons that actually dealt with pregnancy. Because naturally, of course, most cartoons at that time already had the kids, and maybe some cartoons at that age. But this was the first time I actually had somebody actually pregnant, which was Wilma. And of course, after Wilma gave birth, Betty and Barney could never get pregnant for some reason, and they had an episode where they were taking out on each other. It says, "Hey, at least I had kids. Why don't you stop playing around with pebbles and get your own kid?" And Fred said to him, of course, they prayed that they have a kid, and they wished on a falling star, and for some reason they got a baby left on their doorstep, and they eventually adopted it, and they had a tough time adopting the kid at first, and then they got Bam Bam. That's how they got Bam Bam, and they put that into the live action 1994 piece of shit movie, The Flintstones. But of course, the Gazoo character, that was like the jump the shark episode of a moment of the Flintstones, even though the term jump the shark didn't occur at that time. But he was an okay character. Gazoo was. It was annoying at first, but it was okay. And they didn't mind that character. Of course, and also they spooked James Darren, who was a popular beach movie star in the 60s. And of course, later on in the 80s, he was on DJ Hooker. And then in the 90s, he was on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So he's known for any type of fan you can think of. And they did a spoof on him as well. Instead of James Darren, his name was Durock, and he performed the song. Of course, one of the more popular spoofs they had was a popular television show in the 1960s called Bewitched. So Elizabeth Montgomery and Dick York. And they did an episode with the two of them. And amazing enough, Elizabeth Montgomery and Dick York provided their own voices for those two characters, and they looked exactly like a cartoon version of Bewitched, which was great. I mean, it was great. I mean, it was fun. It's almost like a Bewitched episode, almost like Bewitched meets the Flintstones, which of course in the late 80s, early 90s they did a Flintstones meet the Jetsons movie. But getting back to the actual show, that episode with Bewitched, I thought it was pretty good, and one of the better episodes of that show, of the original Flintstones. Of course, after the show originally left the air, it was in reruns for years, and now unfortunately I don't think it's on reruns anymore. I don't think Boomerang is even showing the Flintstones anymore. The Boomerang cable channel. But one of these things they did was, I heard this thing about like a few years ago, they cut out all the smoking scenes. Because of course, the Flintstones being a primetime show, they had smoking in it. Like Fred and Barney would smoke cigars occasionally on the show, or they would have another character smoking on the show. they had one where they kind of like spoofing Doctor No on the Flintstones, and they had a woman with smoking. They also spoofed. I should also mention they also spoofed the Hatfields and the McCoy thing. I forgot the name of the family, and I know I'm probably going to remember after doing this video. They did a spoof on like a feud between the Flintstones and this other country family there. And they also did a spoof for the Addams family as well, the Gruesomes. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that they spoofed on the Flintstones, and it was very good, very clever at the time. One of the other spoofs they did was spoofing all the monster movies, like instead of Godzilla's like Rockzilla, and they have Fred in the costume, and he was running around Bedrock scaring people. And then after a while, the zipper got stuck, and he was stuck in the costume, and people were beating him. The people in the town were like beating him up. Of course, I don't remember what the actual last episode was, but in the 70s, they decided to have an updated Flintstones cartoon, but focusing on the two kids, Pebbles and Bam Bam. And it was called the Pebbles and Bam Bam Hour, and they did have interact with the parents, of course, and Pebbles and Bam Bam doing a little band, doing like a music sequence, because it was very popular in cartoons in the 70s, because they had the Jacksons. They also had a Brain Bunch cartoon, which maybe sometime I do the Brain Bunch cartoon, but the Pebbles and Bam Bam cartoon, which was in the 70s, Pebbles was actually voiced by a famous television star, Sally Struthers, was the voice of Pebbles, and I thought that was pretty neat. I mean, you could recognize the voice. I mean, she didn't even disguise her voice at all. I mean, some people would disguise their voices for the cartoons, but like Casey Kasem was the voice of Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo cartoons. Until he wasn't physically able to do it anymore. Of course, he since passed away. But Sally Struthers didn't disguise her voice at all, so you knew right away if you an Archie Bunker fan or a fan of All in the Family, and you watched as a kid the Pebbles and Bam Bam cartoon, you knew it was Sally Struthers. So that was kind of fun to hear her on the cartoon. So I literally grew up with Sally Struthers because of those two shows. And of course, there was also a cartoon, a Christmas episode of the Flintstones. It's kind of like spoofing Miracle on 34th Street. Now, I believe it was also a movie version of this, but I think it was a Christmas special. I believe it was a Christmas special originally, but it was airing regularly in terms of for the syndication. When the Flintstones went into syndication, this cartoon was part of the regular rotation around Christmas time. And there was a bit where Fred got hired to do Macy Rock, so Macy's called Macy's Rock, playing Santa Claus, and he was so huge as Santa Claus that he constantly was performing as Santa for Macy's, singing to the kids, reading them stories, and just having the kid singing aloud at Tiny Fred when the kid was for Christmas. He also performed songs to sing to the kids, have times when he would do a show for the kids. And then the real Santa got sick, came to Fred's house. He got sick as he was delivering presents to Fred's house, and Fred decided to be Santa for Christmas Eve and deliver all Santa's presents on Christmas Eve. So that was kind of kind of a fun episode, even though it was technically there was no such thing as Santa Claus back in the Stone Age, but they modernized. Naturally, they did a lot of stuff to that so that the audience could relate to it, even though it's supposed to be Stone Age stuff. But the Flintstones is still a fun cartoon to watch. If I happen to find it on YouTube, or an episode or two on YouTube, it's fun to watch. But most of the time, it's usually like clips I've seen on YouTube, which is sad because of the stupid copyright rules on YouTube in the United States. You can only see like maybe sometimes maybe clips of the Flintstones, but the show is still fun to watch for me. Bit of nostalgia because, like I said, I grew up watching the Flintstones and reruns because they used to air on every week, every day during the week. Not just the same the Pebbles and Batman cartoon, which I mentioned, but the reruns of the original Flintstones cartoon used to air during the week. And then eventually Pebbles and Bam Bam show used to air on the USA Network when they used to have the thing called the Cartoon Express. It was mostly on the weekend, like Saturday, and mostly on Sundays. And they would replay the Pebbles and Bam Bam shows sometimes. But it's a shame that these cartoons that we grew up on are on TV. I think the first one is on DVD, but not on television anymore. And you may be lucky to find it on YouTube. So I'm not 100% sure if it's on YouTube because of the stupid copyright rules, but I suggest you check it out. So that's my review of the Flintstones. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews not only on my YouTube channel, but at rowdyc.com. There's OWDY, C.com. There's a homepage of my reviewer, Chris Lee Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.